Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for May 23rd. May 23rd is the 143rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 144th in leap years, with 222 days remaining to the end of the year. We have a full moon today, May 23rd, 2024. Several cultures have given full moons throughout the year special names, usually related to what is typically going on around the time of the full moon. For example, May's full moon is known as the flower moon, might also be called the budding moon or the leaf budding moon, the egg-laying moon, the frog moon, or the planting moon. The May full moon might also be known as milk moon, mother's moon, hare moon, and we're talking about the kind of hare that has big ears like a rabbit, or grass moon, to name a few. In May, the northern hemisphere at least, flowers typically spring forth in abundance in May, and hence the designation flower moon. Today's word is deference. Deference is a noun that means respect and esteem due a superior or an elder in consideration of a yielding in opinion, submission to the judgment of another. Some example sentences might include, in deference to the elderly guests, the event planners scheduled the activities to start earlier in the evening, or the young lawyer showed great deference to the seasoned judge, or in deference to the community's concerns, the committee decided to postpone the construction project until further notice. As we can see here, deference usually has to do with allowing someone else to decide, or with agreeing to follow someone else's decisions or wishes. I see it as an expression of respect. The word deference comes to us through French, Middle French before that, originally from Latin. First known use of the word deference is in the 1660s. Deference. The word deference was requested by Odyssey viewer Easy9. Thanks, Easy9. And if you have a word you'd like us to explore in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll take a look at it. South Carolina was admitted as the 8th U.S. state on May 23, 1788. South Carolina was named after King Charles I of England. Carolus is Latin for Charles. The province of South Carolina was formed in 1712, and it was one of the original 13 colonies, becoming a royal colony in 1719. South Carolina became the 8th state to ratify the Constitution, the first state to vote in favor of secession from the Union in 1860, and was readmitted to the Union in 1868. Columbia is South Carolina's capital, and Charleston is its largest city. South Carolina is the 40th largest state in square miles, 23rd most populous, and 19th in population density. South Carolina's nickname is the Palmetto State. People from South Carolina are called South Carolinians, and the state mottos are, "While I breathe, I hope," and "Prepared in mind and resources." South Carolina has two state songs, Carolina, which was adopted in 1911, and South Carolina on My Mind was added in 1984. I've included links to both of those in the description. South Carolina's living insignias include the Carolina wren, and we've seen some of these little cuties in our own backyard way over here in North Texas. Also, the eastern tiger swallowtail butterfly, the Carolina mantis, the white-tailed deer, the striped bass, the yellow jessamine flower, and a dog breed known as a Boykin Spaniel. And, of course, we cannot forget the cobble palmetto tree. Collard greens and boiled peanuts are a thing in South Carolina, although I think they are in several of the Deep South states. Interesting point of trivia about South Carolina is that in the late 1700s, a French botanist, André Michaux, brought a plant called Camellia sinensis to the United States. A product of this plant is tea. The area around Charleston and Georgetown is quite favorable for these camellias, and many tea plantations were started. Many failed. In 1960, the Lipton Company became concerned about their ability to import all the tea they needed to supply American demand, and they bought one of those old tea plantations. In 1963, they opened up an R&D facility on Wadmalaw Island, which they ran until 1987, when a couple guys bought the experimental farm and converted it to a working tea garden, now known as the Charleston Tea Garden. The Bigelow Tea Company bought the Charleston Tea Garden in 2003 and shut it down for a little while they conducted renovations. They opened it back up in 2006. The Charleston Tea Garden is the last and only working tea farm in America, and one can visit there and tour the place. I've included a link to their website, and if you happen to be in the area and want to do a tour of the Charleston Tea Garden, you could do that. Well, that was a bit of a side trip there, wasn't it? I think I covered everything I wanted to be sure and mention about South Carolina, though. So, happy Statehood Day, South Carolina. Now, be sure to check out the How About That, and there's a Word for That playlists. I've included links to those in the description. All this talk about South Carolina made me think about the James Taylor song, Carolina in My Mind. So that's the song we're going to talk about today. Written by James Taylor, he originally released it in 1969. Given the memories I have around this song, I'm pretty sure I heard this version, but Wikipedia tells me that while it achieved critical praise, it didn't have that much commercial success initially. It is a lovely song, though, and he released it again on his Greatest Hits album in 1976, and that's the one whose link we have in the description for you today. Carolina in My Mind by James Taylor. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.